All right, welcome back. And another big segment we have, still staying with rape as a topic, and the many issues around it. After Dr. Roberts has spoken from a public health perspective, we're going to now look at it from the psychotherapy and the mental health side. Here we have a mental health advocate, consultant, psychiatrist, and psychotherapist, Dr. Maymunah Kadiri. He's also known as a celebrity shrink. Great to have you join us this morning, Dr. Maymunah Kadiri.
Good morning.
It's so amazing to have you on the show today because we have questions, and I want to do that. Most of our viewers also would like to really have questions for you. Let's talk about your personal experiences that you've had with people who had been raped or who had accused other people of being raped. What would you say has been able to stand out for you in all these years? Maybe the common denominator that people really bring to the fore when they say they've been raped?
Deep question, I must say. And that's just while you were talking and restructuring your question, it just took me back to, my therapy table and, sitting on the other side and getting people coming to either self-referred, hospital referred from another colleague or family members. Sometimes a few employers, sometimes. Maybe because of certain things that will have happened in the workplace, maybe productivity, and then they eventually opened up to the HR manager or their supervisor or manager, and then that person like, okay, I think you need to go for the session. So one thing I found in this environment as a common denominator is the culture of silence. So that means they hardly come on time to discuss what has happened. Either it's a child who was being threatened, you can't talk, your parents will be killed, I'll kill you and all that. So that child is going to go on for a very long time being, going through all the sexual harassment by that predator for a long period of time before they eventually discover, or somebody who is already an adult, that is intimate partner violence or something, and didn't come on time because of what did you go and do there? The dress you wore was too short. The time was too late. That place is dark. What were you doing there? It's you that brought it upon yourself. Why are you talking about it now? So all that has really helped in driving traumatized individuals, suppressing this emotion to the subconscious, maybe now re-traumatized, or 2-3 things will have happened. Productivity will have been affected, interpersonal relationship will have been affected, activities of daily living will have been affected. So those are some of the things that will now bring the person to fall. Or a typical example, a young person or an adolescent who is going through drug issues and then eventually comes in, parents are worried about the, his or her own behavior, and then you now find out the underlying issue was he or she was being raped, because this time around, yes, girls are more victims or survivors at the end of the day than the boys, but boys also get raped. They have been medicating because they are depressed. The aftermath of all that negative emotion. It will amaze us to know that I have seen an 82-year-old woman who was raped at 12. So that means 17 years after.
Right.
Who eventually talked about her rape experience. At this point, she had achieved it all. Children doing very well in different parts of the world, and they couldn't understand why mom is depressed. Mom was depressed because up until a rapist died, she never got justice. The culture of silence never allowed her to speak out. So she was always seeing him doing things, and she felt this guy should be behind bars, and I never got justice. But now that accomplished a lot of things. I deserve justice.
Dr. Kadiri, this is the part I really, I'm going to hope that you can really delve into. We're talking to Dr. Roberts, and she said they can deal with the physical aspect, the abrasions and the rest of that, but the psychotherapist, the consultant, we said you're going to be around. She said, good. Will tell us about how to deal with it. And good to raise up the 80-year. I was on radio some weeks ago, and a 55 or thereabout woman called me and said, I was raped when I was 9 or 10 years old. And she said, you know what, I'm successful, I have everything, but I still feel the hot in my heart. And when she said hot, I understood what she meant by the hot, because you see that, she said, look, I may have moved on, but it's still there. I think about it every time. Why is it important that they get psychotherapy, no matter how long it's happened?
And these are the reasons why you can't tell somebody, why are you talking about it now? It shouldn't even come to the front. You can't even tell somebody, it happened 20 years ago, why talking about it now? Because this person has suppressed this to the subconscious. From time to time, it rears up. Sometimes they are re-traumatized. Why they must find closure, because that's the word, is that people need to also learn how to let go, forgive themselves, so that they be able to forgive others. You do not know what forgiveness is if you haven't forgiven yourself. And for the fact that that culture of silence is still there, that will not allow somebody to go seek for help from the right places, the right people, and at the right time, it is a major perpetuator of this. People do it because they know they will go scot-free. Why? No, that was a child. She was a child, 9, 10 years old. There was absolutely nothing she could do to fight that person. There was absolutely. So at that point in time, she would see it as if it's something, okay, what has happened to me right now? But by the time she started growing, she knew this was really bad. And let's not forget, some of these individuals, they may start having issues with relationship. Trust issues. So you have some friends, they have trust issues. Have you really deep dive to know why this person has, he or she has trust issues? So she may be having trust issues. She may not be optimally productive. It will just be in that suboptimal level for a long period of time. So they must get help. Timely intervention is very important. I love the fact that, my colleague has talked about the physical, but aside from the physical, that counseling, we call it debriefing, reenact the whole story. They may not be able to say everything because they will suppress some, or selective amnesia may come out or come on, or they just feel that I don't need to talk about this right now. But it's also very important when there's timely intervention, they talk about it. Listening non-judgmentally, no criticism, no, you are not being apostolic and say, let us pray about it. They are not talking about, God is for everyone. Because if you begin to start being apostolic in that session, you aren't doing justice to that individual. Just forgive and forget. Excuse me, forget means this person has amnesia, memory loss. That's a medical condition. You instead teach forgiveness. And whenever that person gets to that stage of remembering this episode, he or she will be in a better place as against forgive and forget. Those two words don't go together. I need to tell Nigerians and everybody that is watching, don't ever tell somebody forgive and forget. Forgive, yes. Forget means that person has memory issue, dementia, memory problems. It's a medical condition. Teach forgiveness. Forgiveness can be taught, and then they can find closure and move on and be able to relate and be able to, live happier, healthier, and better lives and interact with human beings, because we are social animals. So social interaction is very key for holistic wellness, and you can't be an island. So trauma, for me, is the underlying issue once somebody is raped.
Dr. Kadiri, teaching forgiveness can only be, taken over by people like you, because if I'm yet to get justice, it may be very difficult for anybody to really forgive.
You're right.
Nobody can forget, just as you said, unless it is a medical condition. If I still see that person walking the roads and is not being made to pay for it, How do I
you
heal?
Forget. How do you forgive, rather?
How do you handle such?
Yeah. So, and this is where it is a multidisciplinary approach when it comes to rape issues. Right. Yes, preach for our awareness, preach, sensitization, mobilization. Let people even know the aftermath of this whole rape issue. See, the World Health Organization has even said that half of all mental illnesses start before the age of 14 and 2/3 before the age of 24. So anybody before the age of 14 that has been raped or going through this current episode now can easily be depressed. So you'll be wondering why a 9-year or 8-year-old is depressed. Have you found out all the underlying factors, what this person has gone through? So if you understand these statistics, it's good. Yes, prevention is the best thing. But if it has happened, a multidisciplinary approach must be taken. Justice system must intervene. The schools must intervene. The religious bodies, preaching, let's forgive. How? Just like the way you talked about. I still see the Mr. XYZ moving up and down, like the 82-year-old woman that felt this man was never arrested, detained, and accosted or whatever, jailed, and the kid thrown away until he died. She hates, in fact, she said, any of her child, none of her children married from that family, that state, anything to do with that tribe. And they never knew until that day. Because she just said, I don't like these people. And they always, Mom, why? Until that day, she said, the person that raped me at the age of 12 is from that tribe. So there's a lot that can happen from that 1-2 minutes or 5 minutes of pleasure you think you have gotten. You have just, robbed an individual of a lifetime joy, happiness. We all need, life is to be enjoyed, not endured. No. So if they don't get justice, because justice system play a very significant role. And that's why I love some of the states that are ensuring that people that are, found wanting, publicly declared as it's a sex offender, and this person shouldn't have job, or this person should be dealt with, or the justice system. But again, it's a good path to healing. Because if you know that justice has been served, forgiveness can come easier and better. Yeah. But when you know that nothing was done, and then the family members are like, shh, what the hell? Why are you wishing the child? And say, look, don't let my marriage break. We people should know now. And people will be pointing fingers. Parents need to get up and sit up and say these things the way they are, because our major problems are parents, family members. It's not even the work environment or whatever. Family members that are hush, 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 let's keep it down. Because most of the predators are family members. So people don't want. Imagine a father raping his daughter, and the wife is aware and doesn't want to bring it to the fore because she feels that people will point fingers at her.
Well, that was the question I brought up with the Dr. Robert. I would like for you to also attend to it. What have you found? You see the way I'm asking the question, what have you found to be the psyche, the thought, the thinking processes of those who had engaged in raping people?
In the mind of a rapist.
Yeah, thank you. What
have you been in the mind of a rapist.
That's the best way to put it. So what have you found? What are those things that you found?
So you find out that some rapists were raped. So it's their own way. It's their own way of continuing the vicious circle rather than stopping it. Because they didn't get help. They may not have gotten justice. So they just feel that the best way is to continue with that circle. So see underlying factor. They were traumatized. Yeah. So they derive joy in traumatizing others. And where do you place such an individual? It can't be surgical. It can't be medical. It's a behavioral issue. So that person needs behavioral change, needs closure, needs session, needs therapy to get him to realize that traumatizing others is not going to give you justice. You have to find justice, you have to find closure, you have to find peace within yourself rather than traumatizing others. Then you find some other people, they have a kind of personality. It's not three of us as we are now, we have different personality traits, but personality disorders is different. That is where you know this is a medical condition and it's very difficult to manage because this is a disorder, right? So such individuals, especially the narcissists, the word is just around them.
They're
the voice, the Lord and the Master. So they derive joy because there are people that their job is there. Pay them, get sex, move on. They don't derive joy in that. They derive joy in seeing that person cry and beg, and they are happy seeing you sad.
And in pain.
Sometimes. And in pain. Not most, sometimes, all the time. Then there have some other people that are already dealing with mental health related issues, like the manic episode of bipolar affective disorder. Okay. So in that manic episode, increased energy level, increased sexual drive, everything is increased, happiness and all that. So when there's that increased sexual drive, you don't care who, whether you are on the street, you are not on the street, whether you are well dressed, that urge to always get sexually satisfied.
No standard.
No standard in anything that goes.
Okay.
And then there are people that are on drugs, so alcohol and other substance under influence. So they wake up and they see, like, do I know you? And the person, yes, you brought me home last night. That kind of a thing. Oh, really? So under the influence, that can be. But the one that people will say, I think the person has a mental illness. No, people shouldn't even generalize. If somebody has been found to be a rapist, let the person go for a full evaluation. Let's even know whether it is you are doing because you want to traumatize other people. It's a vicious circle of, that bitterness and whatever or that you are already having an existing mental. But nobody should sit down and say, I think, let us say, if they go to the justice, tell the lawyers to help. Because those are the kind of things they will now go and plead and say, oh, because the person has an existing mental health related issue. If anything bad, it's an existing mental related issue. It's fallacy of generalization. Let's stop generalizing. Let people go get help. There's nothing like, because I didn't get help when I was raped, now if you get help, you will not heal. Healing is a personal journey. So anytime you get help, get help. And if you are here out there watching us right now, if you are in that position, you've gone through this process and it's traumatic, and of course nobody wants to be raped. You've been derived of something that you hold dearly to your heart. It's not too late. Whether you're 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s or 80s, your healing is a personal journey. You can get help right now. It's important.
Thanks for giving those responses, because we've been seeking for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because the reason to get help, like you pointed out, is either to stop them from becoming the monsters.
Exactly.
Or the other one, which I know you're deeply involved in, depression, which you're working on. I understand the book. Help us understand the correlation. I mean, when people write books, they have all of the information, so we can mine the information that you have between depression and rape.
So somebody has gone through rape, whether a child or an adult, sometimes even a married woman, that's the intimate partner violence, so they don't even want to even come out and talk about it. Something has been taken away from you, forcefully, unwillingly. You were not, you didn't want it at that point in time. So some people say, yeah, I know it's her, yes, don't mind her. No, don't generalize. So that's something being taken away from you. There's those negative emotions that start building up. Anger, resentment, bitterness, sadness. So sadness for a day or two is not an issue. For quite a number of us, something is making you sad. So if the person, look at it and say, okay, I think I will go and report, you get help and get justice and people will rally around you. So it will not go into depression. So sadness is not synonymous. So with all those negative emotions building in, when that sadness, bitterness, anger comes in, a period of time, we are not going to say this person is depressed. The person has been traumatized, maybe going through adjustment-related issue. But then, if this sadness is ongoing, at least minimum of 2 weeks, that is a very strong symptom of depression. But you can't still say this person is depressed. You now have to start doing further evaluation to know what are the other things that could make this person depressed. Energy level being affected, loss of interest in things ordinarily you love to do. You are TV presenters. All of a sudden, you don't even want to watch TV. All of a sudden, you don't even want to take remote to even turn on the TV. All of a sudden, anything regarding news, TV, media, you are uninterested, there's a problem. Because these are things, this is a job that gives you pleasure, this is a job that makes you happy. Then now that interest is no longer there. These are the 3 major symptoms of depression: sadness, and low energy level, loss of interest in things ordinarily you love to do. But again, there are so many numerous minor symptoms. And some of you will be surprised to know that some of these minor symptoms can mimic malaria.
Oh.
Yeah, some of them are malaria like in origin. You would think you have malaria, so you treat malaria, then it doesn't go. You treat typhoid, it doesn't go. Then you go for tests because maybe you didn't do tests. Yeah. You say, I think it's because I didn't do lab tests. You do it, and of course, we are in malaria zone, we are sub-Sahara, it will be positive. So you treat it again. Then you say, I think it's this drug that is not good. Let me get another drug. It doesn't go. Then I think I will visit doctor. You now visit doctor. It doesn't go. That doctor doesn't know anything. You go the moment you start doctor shopping and hospital shopping, there's a problem somewhere. Because you want to hear something that they are telling you is not there. Because they are telling you everything is physical, it's okay, but it's emotional. So loss of appetite, poor sleep, forgetfulness. You hold your phone. Most of us have been there. You are not depressed. No, I'm not saying you are depressed. Hold your phone. You are looking for your phone or your car keys. You are not depressed. It's just those moments of poor concentration and attention. But it can be so bad that you start feeling hopeless, worthless, and helpless. That's when suicidal thoughts comes in. And then some people may start hearing strange voices, seeing strange things. This is what we call hallucination. They start saying, see, are you not seeing him? You're like, what is this one talking about? Or they start believing that the whole world is against them. And start saying, don't talk to that uncle. That auntie is bad. My village people. Oh, this one. All those paranoia and delusions. So regarding that, rape and depression, it's a thin line. Especially if there was no timely intervention. It can cascade. So you see, with the studies from WHO saying half of all mental illnesses are before the age of 14 and two-thirds before the age of 24. Rape has occurred before the age of 14. Nothing, and then the person is gradually growing, then something happened. Maybe work or a relationship ended or poor relationship with siblings or parents. Before you know it's happening, the person breaks down. You'll be thinking it's that is leading to that depression. No, that was just a trigger. Go back and find out what were the other risk factors, the trauma the person might have gone through, that this is now bringing it to the fore. And so that's why it is really important that rape issues are prevented. But if it has occurred, let them get closure, be able to forgive, get counseling and therapy so that they can be happier, healthier, and interact better and more productive. Because at the end of the day, you want to be a more productive individual.
Dr. Kadiri, I'd like to take you up from where you just stopped now, that it could be prevented. I put the same question across to Dr. Roberts when she was in the studios, and I asked when it was the best time to start sex educating children. What are those things that one can do that would be like, okay, I've satisfied all righteousness. So if anything now happens from now henceforth, then I'm not going to be found culpable in any way. What would you say?
You will say be found culpable in our society. It's not that in your heart of heart, you say, I did everything that was humanly possible. But it still happened, No matter how don't beat my child, your brothers come to the house, stay in your own, I have daughters, you make sure your own husband too is, not all those things. You don't watch the textbook and all what the lectures and the videos you've heard, right? So parents should actually start discussing sex education with their students as far as they start talking. When the child starts, because curiosity starts from that toddler age, where they're asking you, come here, why? Sit down there, why? This, what? So start talking about it. And you can talk, it should be age specific. Don't use words like, your pee-pee, your this. Use the right word so that if something is happening to them, they'll know that this is it. Because by the time they're coming to tell you that our uncle is using nail on me, you will laugh. Because you've been using that word and you didn't know that that is their own word, and you didn't know that this is what that child is saying. So the moment the child start talking, start using, you know, age-specific words, my private part, my good part, the bad part that people should not touch. So you tell the child, they shouldn't touch your breast, they shouldn't touch your bum. You don't say it. Start, you know, pictorial. And demonstrate, yes. So age specific, because children may not be able to know some certain things, but pictorial representation, simulation, letting them see what is happening. And the beauty about this tech age is that so many things are even on the YouTube that you can download that are very educational materials that you can use to build that conversation with your children in that child-friendly environment. Because if they bring the child to us for investigation or forensic evaluation for rape cases, we have doors that represent from grandparents to a child. So granddad door, granddad, a grandmom doll, daddy, mommy, brother, sister, uncle. So even if the child is not talking, because sometimes they are so traumatized, they are mute. They would point. So pointed to granddad doll, they will start our investigation. Then that means this person is an elderly person. It may not be a granddad, but that means the person who did this is an elder. So who are the elderly people this child is interacting with or that have been around? So those are the ways, because you can't just say this child cannot talk. Then you will not be able to investigate to know who did this. It's a lie. If you don't even have doors in your office as a therapist, bring pictures that will be representative, that will show, you know, and tell the child, right. Because in evaluation, some people may not be able to talk. They can only write. What if the person is even deaf and dumb? Would you not see interact? So those are the ways in getting them to tell you. And the moment they see that you are there, attentively listening, not judging, no criticism, you are not being apostolic, you are not pushing them now, that rapport is built and they are able to. Really so children's investigation, assessment, evaluation is not for everybody. You must have those skills so that you will be able to deep dive into what has happened. And though they are minor, when we are evaluating them, parents excuse us temporarily. Okay. Because if it's the parent, you think the child will talk? No. If it's the dad and the dad is there, like even if he's not talking, like if you say something here, we say, Dad, Mom, thank you very much. Just temporarily step out. We'll call you back. The child will say, it is. So by the time you come, we'll know what to do. So those tactics and techniques must be deployed so that you can be able to help them. But what I keep saying, let the conversation start early. The earlier, the better. Because prevention is a whole spectrum from childhood to adulthood. If I have a place now, there's sex education that are being discussed, I will still go. I'm not saying because I'm a therapist, I'm a specialist, there may be something I'm going to pick up from there. Yeah, so knowledge is not lost. Exactly. Knowledge is power, which is what we're doing here to get the information out. Unfortunately, Lola Adeni Vival, who's the head of Lagos State Domestic Violence Response Team, is supposed to join the conversation, but she's stuck in some meeting. We hope at some point she can, because she's a very busy lady, we can extract her and help us understand some more about what Dr. Kadiri is talking about in terms of the investigation and evaluation, how they can partner with different stakeholders in giving us the picture we want to see. Something again, Dr. Kadiri, which has made this to foster over this silence is stigma. We haven't made much progress with stigma. People, even the educated ones, you know, still stigmatize people who have been raped, don't know what to do. They end up causing more problems than actually solving the problems. In terms of stigma, what have you seen and what do you think we can do? Stigma is big. You know, it's big because you can even self-stigmatize yourself. And probably even the people around you stigmatize you. And that culture of silence drives it. Because if you say people will talk and they'll tell you nobody will marry you. So if it's a girl, so that don't say anything. So stigma is such a big thing when it comes to rape. But again, we must break that culture of silence. We must be able to destigmatize this, you know, this issue and it still goes back to that preventive measures. What are schools doing about this? What are the policies in the workplace when it comes to sexual? It's not, people think it's when penetration is all about it, that is the rape. Even molestation, smacking people's bum, touching their breasts, harass, and even threatening them that, look, if you don't give it to me, you will not be promoted. All those policies must let work environment see that there's that huge culture and that policy in place, and people be used for as scapegoats if such things occur. But again, the employee will say, if it is my employer, especially a one-man kind of business, who will I now report to? And that's why I love what Lagos State is doing. Lagos State is a trailblazer in this. All other states should come and learn, because they are putting that platform and well-rounded, a scheme whereby you can independently go there and report somebody, as well as you have everything that we deploy when we show all that. But again, when you look at the legal, I'm not a lawyer, but it makes me so angry that, when it comes to the law aspect, you must show all the evidence. Everything. Like, they must check whether there was there semen, was there proper penetration. Like, most people, when those things happen, they go and shower. But of course, we in this field now know that you do not shower. You don't, because those evidence are, but it's so traumatizing that you have gone through this and they will believe that. They won't believe you if you don't show evidence. And is there a video? Who is your witness? Like, did I bring it upon myself? That so even the law needs to be properly reformed to capture things that we know that some people will not be able to, show evidence as it is. But again, as individuals, even when we are talking about this stigma, we as individuals should also be fair to ourselves. We have seen some cases where people go out there and lie. So how are we going to destigmatize this issue of rape when you are lying against somebody who didn't do what you have said he has done? And with this cloud chasing thing, followers, Instagram, social media hype and all that, and pressure, why would you want to just tarnish somebody's in? So we need all hands on deck when it comes to destigmatization. Put a human face to it. Let's do the right things. Prevention, yes. Schools should make sure that a lot of processes are being done. Work environment put in a lot of policies that would make sure that these things are not even encouraged. And of course, if there's anybody found wanting, we face the law. Families, it's easy for schools and workplace to do that. My major problem, families. Because they are the ones that are they are the real perpetrators of this stigma. Don't talk about it. Nobody will marry you. Nobody, people will start pointing at our family. They say we are bad. No. They say I'm a bad mother. No. You want to drive me away from my husband's side. We need mothers especially. They need to be able to, encourage their children to speak up, speak out, and get the much needed help. Encourage help-seeking behavior. Let's build a culture of compassion. All these things will help. Because if family members, even the workplace and the school, they say go back to the family. So that's why the family members, we are the ones that we need to ensure destigmatization. Let's allow people to speak. Prevention is the biggest thing. And we need to hold on to that. But if it happens, let the person get help.
Let me ask this question that I wonder if anybody is thinking in this line. And that has to do with the rapist himself or perhaps herself. Are there things that could be done to recalibrate the person's thought process not to want to rape again? Is there anything, is it possible?
It's possible, especially if there's an underlying issue. So if the person has issue maybe because he was raped or she was raped and then now raping others to get closure. Find closure, counseling, therapy, behavioral modification, letting him know that or her know that, look, see, doing this is not going to get you the help that you need, but XYZ will help you. And then all that processes, sessions, counseling, therapy can actually help that individual find closure. We are not taking spirituality away from this thing. The thing is that not a lot of times they say, oh, because oh, you are a researcher, you are a clinician, you are a therapist. No, I also still believe that in that wheel of awareness, there's spiritual awareness. So if the person has drifted away from God, also help him or find that God. So
let me bring it to this. You are still on it. You think that people from the village can make people to start to rape? Is that possible? Maybe
village people,
spell like village people.
You see that village people thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it because that village people's thing, a lot of time is a myth. What have you done? What are you doing? That there are certain things you haven't done. You just believe it's village people that is doing you. You sleep. You are not hustling. It's village people. It's village people come into that. No, it's not about. Yes, there's still a lot of you have been casted a spare. Village people are already. I'm not going to dwell into that because it will drive away the core of our discussion. Those things can happen. I'm a Nigerian, and we know that those things they do occur. And so I'm not going to say because I'm a doctor, a therapist, and then I'll say village people, those things don't happen. Those things we have a lot of religious and cultural beliefs that have been holding us down. But as a rapist, they can find closure if that is the issue. If it is the issue of bipolar or manic episode, whatever, they get treated, that sexual drive will reduce because the medication you give is a mood stabilizer, and if there's some issues with hallucination, all those other things, that paranoia and all that, they can be medicated and they can get better and be productive and work. If it's alcohol and substance issue, it may not be addiction, but maybe some level of dependency or tolerance or whatever that person is going through, they can also be managed. Personality disorders are difficult to manage, but behavioral modification and all the other cognitive behavioral therapy that are instituted, we've seen individuals get better when they know better. Because they are doing certain things because they believe that that is who they are, and they get joy, and they are happy doing it. But when they know better, the implication is not only to the individual, even to themselves. And those therapy sessions kind of gradually help them. So rapists can also get help. And if there's a rapist out there, truly, you can get help. You are a human being. So nobody on earth can say, and I don't think getting help will be of any significance. In fact, asking for help is a sign of strength and never a sign of weakness. So as a rapist and you think, I don't know what to do, and you truly want help, help is out there. If you're a rapist and you don't want help and you are enjoying what you are doing, the long arm of the law is coming. And when you are found, justice will be served.
Indeed. And as we talk about behavioral changes, I think about a new field also too, which is online behavior. The social media is a tangled web. To put it in mild terms, it's which why we're having all the discussions in National Assembly about and Twitter and all of that. What I've seen sometimes on social media, especially around rape, about how it's dealt with, it has left a lot to be desired. Sometimes it's driven people to depression, and unfortunately sometimes even suicide have happened because of certain things people have said online, and the way people have been accused falsely about rape or have gone through rape, and they pointed fingers at them, said it was your fault, it was what you did, what you wore, and all of that. I don't know. This, when I think about this young generation, it's different from our generation and upwards. They spend their entire life online. So how do they handle that? They have to be online, but they have to also be wary of the behavior.
The thing is that social media has the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it's going to even get, bigger, more gross, more than what we have right now. So it's what truly you want from social media. People are making billions on social media. So when it comes to issue of rape, let's leave the online justice, because people want to come online, make noise. Justice can't be served online. Go do the normal, regular thing. Because the moment you put your matter online, you have given people right to invade your privacy. So something has happened and it's a rape issue. Go through the normal process. The moment you put it online, and your personality is the type that if there are no comments, it doesn't go viral, people are not talking about it and all that, a lot of times you may be feeling as if you've been dejected, neglected, or not wanted. But we also know what the online community can do for people. Online community can get you the justice. Online community can get you to the right places. I can't remember the number of people they've referred to us via online because somebody said, oh, we found this person and was raped and this, we want justice. Please, yes, they are doing that, but please help us with the counseling side and order. But it's a thin line. It can go south in seconds. Because the truth is that you don't have control over what goes viral or what doesn't go viral and how people react. Some people are just bitter. Some people are haters. Some people, they are, like I said earlier on, the narcissists, the histrionic personality. They derive joy in doing when they see you are in pain. So they will keep coming and like trolls and keep attacking you. And if you are the type that can't take it, those can easily get somebody suicidal. So we need to be able to start teaching our younger ones how to use social media, to their benefit as against to the disadvantages.
All right.
The millennials and Generation Z, they are the therapy generation, if you have to know that. They are the ones that are changing the narrative, telling parents, I think I'm depressed, I need help.
I need to this.
And then, of course, we, the parents, some of us are still in that cocoon. God forbid. It's a spiritual attack. Village people, it's not. No. Or some will start rolling out. You have a roof over your head, your school fees is 10 million, you go on vacation, of course, COVID has made us all sit down, and all that. No, your child is not interested in that. Your child wants you to listen, not judgmentally, to understand what he or she is going through, not necessarily you responding to start ruling out all the good. No. So, yes, social media is good. I can't say, let's ban, no. There's so many good things that have come out from social media, but using it to your advantage is very key. And if you find out your type of person going on social media will affect you, limit your exposure to news and social media.
Okay.
You can schedule time where you watch news. You can mute notification. You can uninstall apps that are not good for your mental health. There are some people that Twitter, they never go there. They don't even want to near there because Twitter, they have their courts, they have their judges, they have their jury, they have everybody can, all those things. So even before they ban the Twitter thing in Nigeria, we know what Twitter, how advocacy can be driven and conversation can be driven on
right
Twitter.
Then.
So if you are the type that you think, it's not good for my sanity, because you need to be very intentional about your mental health. Guard, protect, and prioritize your mental health. It's very key. So if there are certain things that don't work with you, don't be pressured to go there because everybody is going there. No.
All right, thank you. We'll be speaking with Dr. Maymunah Kadiri, psychiatrist, as well as mental health expert. And we're still with her. I want to take this report on gender-based violence put together by Mudupe Oluwashure Mekun, and then we'll come back to wrap up things. To stay with us.
There have been several reports and documentations on the sexual and gender-based violence in Nigeria, but all of which were without national data indicators. This almost justifies the saying that what is not documented is not done. But with national data indicators, reports on sexual and gender-based violence will be factual, credible, and standardized. This is what the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs wants to achieve with both international and local partners.
Appeal to all present here that as producers of or users of statistics, whether we are compiling labor market indicators, health statistics, annual health report, annual educational report, population bulletins, poverty, living standards, income and expenditure, survey preparing statistics report, SDG reports, human development report, we must mainstream gender. I still repeat, in all that we do, we must mainstream gender. Anything that is not documented has never been done. So that first commandment is what we should have behind our minds as we work towards ensuring the full harmonization of our data as far as gender-based violence is concerned.
Many sexual and gender-based violence issues were believed to be underreported, but the harmonization will both eliminate underreporting and double reporting.
A harmonized report that is endorsed by everyone. That's the first one. The second one is that it enhances planning. Planning is very important. How do you plan if you're not planning using evidence? So we'll have an evidence that's agreeable by everybody, and we use it to make good policies and also to influence change for girls and women, and also to influence the status of girls and women.
Stakeholders say improving on this will enhance better understanding of sexual and gender-based violence and strengthen response. Modupo Oluwa, Shore Meku, Silverbird News 24.
All right, so that report was put together on gender-based violence, which cuts across because it's not just about the girl child or the boy child, but we even heard about grandmothers. It's only grandfathers we've not heard anything about, but we heard a lot about grandmothers also being molested by people. As we close to this morning, Dr. Kadiri, what do you see society doing? What can we do better to ensure that there is sanity around, so to speak, such that all of these issues of rape can be minimized, if not totally, removed from our society?
That's a big one. You know why? A hungry man is an angry man. So we must also still come back to what are those things that are even available to the common man, that they are not, when they get up in the morning, they are not looking lost as the ordinary citizen. So basic needs of life must be there: shelter, food, water, good roads, all those things. But of course, we are still in a society where it's still a struggle, right? But that doesn't make it that you start doing, amplifying the negative. Rather, let's look for ways whereby we can optimize the positive and minimize the negative, or even eliminate the negative. So education is still very key. That's sensitization, awareness, let people know the long-time effect these things can do to this individual, and of course to the society in general. See that grandma I'm talking to you about. No staff of hers came from that tribe. Nobody, it was such a long period of time, but everything had happened. So that sensitization, mobilization, education. We are doing something. This is one of it. Beautiful. Media is very key. Anything you are doing right now without media intervention, you are not doing anything, because that is the way millions of people can be reached, whether it is virtual or physical. So it's key that all hands on deck must be able. We must put them to make sure that in this forerunner, in eliminating this issue of rape, the culture of silence must be broken. Let's start sex education on time with our children, the girl child, the boy child, letting girls know their role, the good part, bad part, good touch, bad touch, private part, public part. All that discussion must be heard, so that you won't just say, let us focus. Yes, the girls are more affected than the boys, but boys also get raped. The grandpas are not talking. That's why you are not seeing them. They are not. That's the culture of silence. If grandpas are not talking to them, I'm already old, I will soon die, so why do I even want to start this discussion? So they are not talking. So that, that's instituting sex education from home on time. Schools ensuring that this is a major topic of discussion. Workplaces, policies put in place. Family members ensuring that, you encourage this discussion and make sure that everybody is enlightened. And if any, because you can't say because there's preventive measures, there won't be, there'll always be one person crossing the line for some reasons or the other, right? But that help timely intervention. Don't hush it. Don't close it. If this person has been traumatized, you won't know whether this child is going to grow and start traumatizing other people because he never or she never got help. So timely intervention, help is available. Reach out, justice system to also do their own thing. You know, and then of course our law enforcement agency, attitudinal change is very key. Don't say is what you want. Why did you go there? No, all that should be, they should be retrained and retrained on attitudinal approach to issues that are so sensitive. Because just by that person may not even say anything. And of course, parents, once that child starts that conversation that Mr. XY or Uncle this has done this, don't keep it.
Shut them down.
No. Get them help. Deal with that your brother or your sister who you think has done wrong, and let that child get it, because they grow, they will never forgive you, and that child will be maybe dysfunctional. So all these are modalities that we should all look at, and it's not a one-man thing.
Okay.
It's a community thing. Absolutely. Everybody.
Everyone has to be involved, and we're not going to end the conversation, but we're just going to keep it rolling and on and on. Thank you very much, Dr. Maymunah Kadiri, consultant, psychiatrist, mental health advocate. What have I missed out? Psychotherapist, and it goes on. And coach, thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you discuss with us, and hope we can. How time flies. We just had a quality session. We just go on and on. And how she does brighten our studio every time she comes on. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you too.
All right, so don't shut them up. When they want to talk, listen to them. Dr. Kadiri says, when your children are trying to explain things to you, don't shut them up. Let them speak. Because, and then let you also speak out so that it would prevent recurrences, and then we can have a healthy society. I really commiserate with you this morning. If you've ever been raped before, if you're struggling to get out of it, if you're still hurting, get help. We hear that there's help all over. Seek help and forgive, and then move on. Have a beautiful day. It's News Hub today. I am Shun Uyidiji.
And I am Awogo Obo. Carpe diem, and then, tranquilo, tranquilo, tranquilo.
Same to you.
Be cool, huh?
Same to you.